3,000 children a day. Such a huge number would normally create an international uproar and would make front-page news in every American newspaper. But most Americans are unaware of the existence of the problem, much less the magnitude of it. Problem, it should be called a pandemic. Let me read you a few numbers just to ensure that you understand the magnitude of what we're dealing with here. 3,000 children and infants every day. 10,000 pregnant women every year. A total of over 1 million deaths, with more than 500 million acute sufferers every year, according to the United Nations in 2006. You ask who the culprit is? It's malaria. Carried by the annoying but insignificant mosquito, malaria is one of the top killers in the world today, taking consistently large numbers of people every year. As members of a global community and people who claim to serve the God of the universe, it's our responsibility to both know the plight of our fellow man and to do our part to help him. There's a very real sense that the current magnitude of the malaria pandemic is our fault. We had the means to eliminate mosquito-borne illnesses in sub-Saharan Africa, but we have denied these Africans the opportunity to do so. According to the American Heritage Dictionary, a pandemic is an epidemic over a wide geographic area and affecting a large proportion of the population. A malaria pandemic, then, is an outbreak of malaria that is spread over a large geographic area and affects a great portion of the population. We'll start by looking at the devastation that malaria has caused in modern times. Then we'll cover the benefits that DDT use has brought to the developed world, followed by the turnaround that the World Health Organization has experienced concerning DDT. First, the global devastation that malaria has brought. For hundreds of years, and up until a few decades ago, Europe and Russia faced a seasonal outbreak of malaria on the same level as the Black Death, taking thousands of lives every year. Up until DDT was brought in, malaria was one of the biggest threats in these nations, and now doctors there and in the United States are not even trained anymore with how to treat it. Though it's still a minor problem in South America, in North America it's been basically eradicated also. However, in Africa and Southeast Asia, malaria is still a very real threat to both residents of the nations there and to travelers. The health benefits that DDT has given to the developed world include primarily the eradication of malaria. It's a non-issue for us. In World War II, it was used to treat soldiers individually, kind of like a bath, to prevent typhus, and basically eradicate it in the trenches, saving thousands of lives on both sides, according to Medical News Today in 2006. It also destroyed other insect-borne illnesses throughout the developed world, including West Nile virus. Finally, we'll look at the recent turnaround that the scientific world has experienced regarding DDT use. It started because many African nations begged the West to let them use DDT. They faced a quandary, a catch-22 if you will. On the one hand, they had the promise of aid from the West. But if they got this aid, they were told they weren't allowed to use DDT. So they could choose, feed our children and prevent them starving to death, or destroy malaria with DDT and prevent them from dying of malaria. Do we want them to die of starvation or malaria? Many nations got tired of this, and a few of them decided to call the West bluff and to start using DDT anyway, with amazing results. Seeing these results and seeing the fact that DDT wasn't destroying the ecology and the health of these people caused the West to reevaluate their stand on DDT and to consider the fact that maybe DDT wasn't all that they had thought it was. With a little more research, they discovered that DDT really wasn't causing all the health problems that it had, that they thought it had, and that many of the reports that they had gotten on it were based on faulty research or were outright lies. This caused them to take a completely opposite stance to what they had and to face the fact that we were basically telling Africa that DDT had worked for us and it had saved our lives, but that we weren't going to let them use it to save theirs. We've seen both the devastation of malaria and the almost miraculous results that DDT has brought us. In a world that claims that all men are equal, no matter their race or creed, malaria and the ban on DDT use have proved an embarrassment and a rebuke. The Western world has had to look at the racism and hypocrisy in its midst and to turn back to compassion and equality. It's time for us to stand up and meet the problem of malaria.